So hello and welcome back to the channel. As per usual, we're here looking at Assetto Corsa Competizione, and yes, we're doing another special event at Barcelona, this time in the McLaren 650S, and a tricky one this one. Another member of the FPR racing team, Classic Physique, has messaged me to say well done with the lap time. I was able to hit the top of the leaderboard with this one, and how the hell am I doing it? So I thought I would share the setup. I'd filmed this a number of weeks ago before I'd been on holiday, and I wasn't sure I actually saved it or not, but I looked back in the external hard drive that I got, and I did have the footage there, so I thought I would share it. I'd share the setup as well that I used, and just the whole approach to setting a fast lap in this event. Now, when you first come into this, obviously you'll notice that it's not actually raining, but the circuit is wet. Now, if it was damp or just greasy, it might be an option to run the dry tyre. I did try running the dry tyre, but the issue is trying to get the tyre actually up to temperature. I ended up doing a number of donuts just to try and get the rear tyres to get some temperature in them before starting a lap, and was only able to hit around a 154 on the dry tyres. Just doesn't seem able to get the grip, and just pay attention to the fact that even though you have the out lap, you have one flying lap, and then you have the final flying lap. Just bear in mind really that you've got 2 laps almost really just to dry the circuit on the line that you're going to be taking. That is my only advice really, regards to why it's 3 laps. It's literally just drying the line that you're going to be driving on. So as you can see, we're in the car and starting right from the off. You'll see that I am using wet tyres, and also pay attention to the ABS. Obviously it's on 8 because the track's still wet. I did try this on 6 just as a new approach really, but I just start to feel too much vibration through my pedal, which is telling me that the ABS is kicking in too much really. So also pay attention to the TC5 that I'm using. So I will be flicking between 1 and 5 throughout this setup, and I'm also using engine map number 1. Now you could use engine map number 5, which is a little bit more of a wet throttle application. It's a little bit more linear, a little bit less snappy, but I think you're really wanting to get the tyres to bite, so engine map 1 is much better in my opinion. And once the grip's sort of available, just changing between the TC ratings. Now I haven't featured this in a video specifically as yet, but you will notice that through the hot lap I'll be swapping between TC1, let's call it TC1 and TC2, but they are just this, in fact let's just call it TC because this car only has a TC rating. Sometimes you'll find TC1 and TC2, but I'll just be switching between TC1 and TC number 5, because that's the best way to go really. 5 offers very little oversteer on corner exit, but 1 offers a great deal of grip. So in this first lap I'm literally just warming the circuit, just getting the tyres nice and warm and just trying to build temperature in the tyres, trying to run over the line that I'm going to be racing on. You could pull across to the right hand side of the circuit as you're coming down the start finish straight. There is a little bit of standing water, but I neglected to do this during this session that I'm doing. Sorry, braking at the 100-yard board. Down into second gear, you'll notice I make a little change with the traction control through that section on the flying lap. But just hugging this inside line really, and once I'm able to get fully flat on the power, I'll be changing to TC1 during the flying lap. Braking just underneath the bridge and trying to keep a tight line through this first corner, and then just letting the car run wide all the way out to the left hand side of the circuit, maxing out in third gear and then swapping down at a terrible corner on this opening lap. But you can hold second gear. I think holding second gear would be a little bit quicker through there. I was trying that the other night in the Ferrari, But yeah, I think coming down to first is what I do during the race itself, or during the event. But yeah, holding third gear through this section, try and get closer to that inside curb and then allow the car to drift out wide. But as you can see, I just sort of ease off from here onwards. I'm literally just trying to cool the tyres now, getting in preparation for the flying lap itself. Don't take too much of that curb on the inside. It can sometimes unsettle the car, but it is obviously better to run a straight line into that corner. It is a bit of a tricky one. And then again, this is sort of off camber really as you come through here. Sometimes unsettles the rear of the car. But yeah, getting ready for the fast lap. So I'm going to switch down to first in the traction control and then back up to fifth through the corner. And then as soon as we're through the corner, back to first again, just to try and get as much acceleration without the traction control bogging down the engine in any way whatsoever. So we're going to be looking at a 150 lap here. So obviously we've got 4 seconds to make up on that time. Braking at the 100-yard board, don't go out onto the curb at this time, especially in the wet conditions. Hugging this inside but don't touch it. Swapping down to first and then back up to fifth on the traction control, hugging the inside. And as soon as you feel able to get the traction control back to 1 and you've got grip, you want to be doing that. Up into fifth, the traction control again, braking under the bridge, hugging the inside, and again we're looking for feeling of grip through the wheel, and then changing to TC1 and then braking as soon as we're maxed out in third gear, down into first gear. A terrible corner really. There's definitely some time left on the table in this fast lap. And then braking as the curb starts on the right hand side, down into second gear. Try not to touch that inside curb too much, and then accelerating TC1 again, and then just lifting off, no brake really, or a tiny dab of brake as you come into there. Just depends on how the car feels at the time really. Sometimes I'll do no brake at all, and then as soon as the car's maxed out in fourth gear, I know I'm going to be braking sharply down into first gear for this very tight left-hander, and then accelerating again TC1 and then back to TC5, and then on the inside just waiting for that little curb on the inside before I know I need to be exiting out. Can sometimes change TC1 there again, and then down to first gear, up to second gear, down to first gear again, and then just trying to carry as much speed through there as you can. Don't go any further than that yellow sausage curb, and then back to TC1, back to TC5 and back to TC1 again, and across the line for a 150.5 to top the leaderboard. I was pretty happy with that lap, but having watched it back, there's probably a few tiny little errors here and there. I did try another go of this last night, but was only able to get into the high 150s, so I must have been on it that day. But yeah, the setup's available on SetSpace website. Enjoy. Ciao for now.